Hello everyone, how are you all? Welcome to SD's Chess World and I hope you are doing well. Grandmaster Srinath Narayanan is a proud winner of 3rd Kolkata Open Grandmaster Tournament 2018 and today we are going to see his match against Grandmaster Abhijeet Gupta, who has more than 100 rating than Srinath. This is the match of round 5, so before going to this game I would like to request you to subscribe the channel. And now you have done that, let's go for it. Here Abhijeet has white pieces and Srinath has black pieces. Abhijeet started with d4, queen pawn opening, and knight to f6, Indian game by Srinath. After that c4 and e6 was played. And here g3, white is going for free and shadow bishop. Here d5 are taking on this c4 pawn. Here Abhijeet go for bishop to g2 and now sacrificing this c4 pawn over here. D takes on c4 and knight to f3 and white is ready to castle over here. Here Srinath goes for bishop to b4 and now it's check. Abhijeet replied with bishop to d2 and avoiding it and also offering bishop exchange. But here a5 by Srinath. He just want to hold his bishop over here. But after a3, bishop have to go to bishop to d6. Here white castles and knight to c6 by Srinath. And here Abhijeet can start his attack. So Abhijeet go for bishop to g5, now attacking on the knight and pinning it temporarily so that it can't move because of this queen will going to fall. Here h6 attacking on the bishop. And bishop don't have really good square to go. Bishop captures the knight on f6. Queen captures the bishop on f6 and a knight to c3. Developing this knight over here, also holding this pawn on c4 square. Here black castles and e3 supporting this d4 pawn. e5 attacking on this d4 pawn and taking this pawn on e5 is not a good option because bishop will capture. And if you capture with the knight, then still there is a queen. So d5 now attacking on the knight, and this knight don't have really good square. It can't move forward because of these two pawns, and this two square is held by this a3 and e3 pawn. So it have to go back. It has only 4 square to go, and here Srinath decided to go for knight to a7. He just want to keep his knight on queen side. Knight to d2 and attacking on this c4 pawn, and here b5 supporting that pawn. a4 now attacking on b5 pawn, and here bishop to d7 now supporting this pawn. This pawn is under attack by this pawn on a4 and this knight, and it has two defender over here. Here queen to c2 by Abhijeet. He just going for to keep his rook on the c file, doubling on c file. Queen to e7 was played, now taking over this diagonal, and maybe black is trying to go for this b4 square so that it can capture the knight or make a pressure. Rook f to c1 as per plan, and here f5, and after this there is some exchange. A takes on b5, knight takes on b5, knight takes on b5, and bishop takes on b5, and this pawn is under a triple attack. So knight captures on c4, and here white get his pawn back. Here material is equal on the board now. There is a double attack on this pawn by this knight and rook. So a4 was played, and knight takes on d6, pawn takes on d6, and black has this good structure at the center. Also has this pass pawn on a file. Rook to a3 was played, and plan is to make this rook on c3 so that white can create this strong battery on c file. Here bishop to d7 was played. That bishop is unprotected over there, and now it can keep eye on this a4 and also this f5 pawn. After this rook to c3 was played as per plan. Rook to a7. Now Srinath is planning for this rook f2 a8. Doubling the rook on a file. Queen to e2 was played, and here white want to push his rook on this c2. Queen to d8. Queen is aiming for this b6 square so that it can support the rook over here, also planning for some attack. After this, rook 1 to c2 and queen to b6, bishop to h3. Now aiming on this f5 pawn, rook to b7. Now keeping pressure on this b2 pawn. After that, queen to d1 was played. Idea of keeping eye on this a4 pawn. After this, rook moves. Now queen to a5 supporting that pawn, and rook to c6. And after this, you can't believe, but Srinath goes for rook to f6. And why this move? As you can see on this position, bishop captures this rook is great move. Engine is also recommending this move over here. But if bishop takes the rook over here, then d takes on c6 and rook to c7 to stop this pass pawn. Definitely there is an unprotected pawn on d6, so queen takes on d6, and after that rook to f6. Now you can see that this queen can go for this e6 and check. So rook to f6 attacking on the queen, and there is double attack on pawn. After this, queen moves, so queen will go queen to d3, and here black can push this pawn or take this pawn over here. So if black push this pawn on a4, then definitely next move will be queen to c4 check. After that, rook have to come to f7, and this rook is pinned now. And if rook f takes on c6, then it is going to be a disaster for black, because after that queen to d8 check, and here you can see that king is under attack and there is no protector for it. So king have to go to king to f7, and here rook will capture on c6. Of course you cannot capture this rook, otherwise your queen will fall. So the position is on hold, and black can try for queen to e1 check. Here king to g2, and rook takes on c6, but queen to d7 check, and king to f8, and queen takes this rook on c6, and white is completely winning here, because queen is attacking on this a4 pawn, bishop is attacking on this f5 pawn, and black don't have any good option to go for it. After watching this all, you can understand why this bishop can't capture this rook. So here after this rook to c6, rook to f6 was played, and immediately rook c to c4, and Srinath takes his rook back on rook to f8. After that again rook to c6, and again Srinath goes for rook to f6. Srinath don't hesitate to draw this match, because Abhijeet is a really strong opponent for him. Now if Abhijeet goes for keeping this rook back to this c4 move, then it is going to be a 3-fold repetition and match is going to be draw. But Abhijeet don't want to make it draw, so bishop to g2 was played. f4, so e captures on f4 and e captures on f4. Here bishop to e4. Now you can see that this bishop is aiming on this h7 square, only escape route for this king, and due to this rook to f8 was played, so that avoiding this back rank checks. After that king to g2, a3, so b takes on a3 and queen takes on a3. After this rook 2 to c3 was played, attacking on the queen, queen to b4, and after this rook 6 to c4, still attacking on the queen. And on this move white takes his rook back to c4 square. Before this move bishop has opportunity to capture, but it can't. Queen to a3 was played. This queen is keeping eye on this rook. After this queen to h5 was played, and now plan is to make this queen on this g6 and going for this h7 square. Bishop to f5, now avoiding this move, attacking on this bishop, and of course you can't capture this bishop. If you captures, then queen takes this pawn on d5. There is a check and your bishop is hanging over here. You cannot stop this check with the bishop because your queen will fall. So of course this is a disastrous move. So after this bishop to b5, bishop to f3 was played, and still keeping eye on this pawn. Here f takes on g3 and h takes on g3. Rook b to f7. Now doubling on the rook on the f file, which is important because it is aiming on this f3 bishop, which is controlling this d5 pawn. After this, rook to e3, and bishop goes back to bishop to d7. These two rooks are attacking on this bishop, but this bishop is under protection of this rook and king. So rook to d4, protecting this pawn so that this bishop can move, but queen to a1, attacking on this rook. So rook have to go back to rook to b4. Here engine is recommending rook to f5 move, and Srinath goes for exact move, rook to f5, and here's one of the incorrect move, or we can say mistake, that is queen to g6 was played. Now what is the mistake? This queen is protecting this bishop over here, and now but this bishop has only true protector now. Srinath grabs the opportunity because he calculated very well. Rook takes on f3, rook takes on f3, rook takes, and here you cannot capture this rook. If you capture this rook, then definitely queen to a3 check, and you are losing rook over here. King have to go back, and queen will capture the rook, and black is simply winning over here. So definitely after this rook takes on f3, rook to b7 was played, now attacking on this bishop. So Srinath goes for rook to f6, attacking on the queen. You can capture this bishop, but I will capture your queen. So rook to b8 check, there is no space for king, so rook have to go to rook to f8, and after that rook takes the rook on f8, king takes on f8, and here white has opportunity to capture the pawn. Queen takes on d6 with check, and king goes for king to a8, supporting this bishop over here. Now looking at this position, you can see that black has completely winning position, but there is a opportunity for white over here. He just have to grab this 2 pawn, and he can go for queen exchange, and there is a draw. Also black has a opportunity to exchange the queen immediately before capturing this pawn. So here Abhijeet goes for queen to g6 check, king goes to e7, and here d6 check, king goes to f8, and after this g4, marching this pawn forward. This is the second mistake we can say, or inaccurate move, because after this queen to f6 was played, and now you can see that this pawn is falling, and if you try to protect it on this d3, still this pawn on g4 is falling. So queen have to capture the queen. Queen takes on f6, and g takes on f6. After that king to g3 was played, going for this 2 pawn. White has only opportunity to draw this match if he captured these 2 pawns. So king to g7, and here king to h4. Plan is to push this pawn on f4. After this king to g6 was played, and now this king can't go ahead, so he pushes f4, and if white get opportunity to push this f5, then it is going to be easy for white. But here Srinath itself go for f5, and white have to capture this pawn, and g takes on f5 with check. And now you can see that single mistake, that is king takes this pawn, and it is going to be a draw, because king to h5, and this pawn will definitely fall, and this is going to be a draw. King have to capture this pawn, king capture this h6 pawn, king will go for this pawn on d6, king goes to g6, king take this pawn, and it is going to be a draw. But Srinath don't fall for it, he just capture with the bishop on f5, and there is no scope for white over here. He just have to go for this pawn, there is no option. He can't push this pawn because bishop will capture, and of course this pawn is hold on this f4 because of this bishop. So after this king to g3 was played, and after Srinath goes for king to h5, white resigns the game, because there is no good reason to follow this match ahead, because this king is taking this 4 square, bishop is taking this square, so king have to either to decide for this 2 square. If king to f3, then definitely king to h4, and this king is capturing this 4 square, bishop is capturing this square, so king have to go for this pawn. and this pawn is not going to be promoted due to this bishop. You can see king to e3, king to g4, king to d4, queen takes on f4, and king to c5, h5, and king to c6, h4, d7, and here bishop captures on d7, and this pawn is definitely going to be promoted. And if white tries to resist with king to g2 over here, still there is king to g4, king to h2, king takes on f4, d7, bishop captures on d7, king to h1 to avoid the promotion, king to g3, and here there is only one square, king to g1, and after bishop to c6 there is no hope. Bishop is taking this h1 square, also king is taking this f2, g2, and h2 square, so king have to escape, and this pawn is definitely going to be promoted. So there is no good reason to continue this game. Due to this king to h5 move, white resigns the game. Really nice game played by Srinath, and he is a winner of this tournament. So I hope you like this game. If yes, then go ahead, hit the like button and share this video with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe the channel. To subscribe, hit that red circle. You can join me on Facebook, Google+, Twitter. You just have to search SD Chess World. You can watch my previous videos over here. Thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you in the next one.